And then they saw me in a bra, and that was it.
A man lies in his bed in a room with no door. He waits, hoping for a podcast, something, anything to enter. This is that podcast. I'm John Farrar, and you're listening to Single Podcast Theory.
I'm open.
What's going on, Pearl Jam nerds? You are listening to Single Podcast Theory. I'm Brad Lyons.
And I'm Brad Blazek.
Welcome to this week's show. All about we're gonna relive the Lexington show from, was it 2016? Right?
Yeah. Yes.
That our good friend here, Brad B, was in attendance for. So that's what we got coming on later.
Good stuff.
Yeah, man. And that was our first kind of a collaboration for the intro this week. That was John Farrar doing his intro, his take on I'm Open, with a little tag at the end there from our beautiful Brad B. You want to just give us another a cappella version of your little part?
I'm open.
Oh, God. It's a voice like silk. Woo!
Yeah. I'm going to try out for the new American Idol. You know, they canceled it a few years ago, and now it's back.
The show?
Yeah.
Oh, it was canceled for a while?
Yeah.
Now it's like, what is it, like, I think I saw a commercial. Old Katy Perry is on there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, cool.
Yeah, great.
I mean, I like a couple of her records. It has nothing to do with her, but that show's kind of weird. Anyway. Yeah. I mean, I
liked her early stuff when she was, like, Christian.
Are you serious?
No.
Oh. Oh, God. You know, I was on a bus with her a couple times. Did I tell you
Really?
that? Yeah.
No, I never heard that story.
She was 16, and she, we were in New York playing some shows, and she came with us. She was playing, we were playing New York on the way to a festival somewhere, and so she rode with us because she was playing at the festival as well. And we had obviously gone out drinking after the show, but anyway, she was like a Christian artist, so we had to pretend that we were totally fine, which we were. It was just kind of a weird night, and she was just walking around in her sweatpants and a t-shirt in the front lounge, just, you know, Katie Hudson at the time.
Like 16?
She was 16 or 17.
Teenager?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy. Anyway.
Was she like a diva yet?
No, she's really funny.
Down to earth.
She's cool. Yeah, she's funny. Quirky.
Yeah.
Just like her music.
It's not really my kind of music, but I don't like hate her.
Sure.
I get her confused with what's her face? Hannah Montana. Cuz she's like cut her hair and now they look a lot alike now. They both got real short hair, or I don't know.
Yeah, I get it. I think Katie's still way hotter, but I hear you. Hey man, to each his own, you know what I'm saying?
You said it.
Anyway, this is we just turned it into a Katy Perry podcast. But seriously, thanks again, John, for the intro. So we're gonna start off like we normally do. It is Pearl Jam story time.
Good evening. This is Storytellers. We are here to tell stories.
We just have friends up here that are listening to stories.
Have I got a little story for you?
This is the true story. True story.
All right, this week's Pearl Jam story comes from Richard Huntwork. He says, "Hello, Brad and Brad. I've been listening to and enjoying your podcast since the end of October. I commute a lot for work, so podcasts and albums are a huge part of my day. Getting through the work week on Kevin Smith podcasts, Single Podcast Theory, and great music, like Pearl Jam, of course, makes the week a lot more tolerable. I've been wanting to write in for such a long time, but I've enjoyed listening to the others' emails, stories, and getting into both of your takes on the topics you discuss weekly. First of all, I just want to point something out real quick that kind of hit me when we got this email. I think it still doesn't quite register in my head sometimes that, and this comes from someone, and I know you're the same way, like that really has been listening to podcasts for a long time, right? I have a lot that I subscribe to and very specific ones that I, whatever day that podcast releases of the week, like I'm really excited to get out of bed and start making coffee and see what I can download for the day, you know what I mean? And it's just really weird to me, like, to see, and I'm not comparing or anything like that, but just that there are people that listen to, like, Kevin Smith's podcast and ours.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Dude.
Like,
I mean,
there's people that, like, do the same thing. I'm like, oh, there's a new, it's Monday. It's time for Single Podcast Theory. That's crazy to me. Anyway.
Yeah. To even be mentioned, you know how big a fan I am of Kevin.
Sure, absolutely.
Just to be mentioned in the same breath is
crazy,
insane.
man.
It's incredible.
All right, he says, quick background on me before my Pearl Jam story. I'm 37 years old, married, live just outside.
In a row?
What? What did I say?
No, he said 37 years old, and I said in a row.
Oh.
It's a Kevin Smith.
Oh. I was like, oh, God, I misread an email again.
No, dude. Sorry.
He says, I'm 37.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I had to.
All right. I'm 37 years old, married, live just outside of Columbus, Ohio. I'm a drummer and overall music lover. I've seen the band 11 times. I was also at the 2013 Wrigley show and night 2 of the 2016 and night 2 of 2016 at Wrigley. So that's pretty sweet. We were at the same shows. My Pearl Jam story. It was the spring of 1992, and I was 11 years old. I was just starting to get into music. My parents didn't really listen to music. We didn't have cable TV, and I had no idea what station to turn the radio to. Hip-hop, rap, and pop music seemed to be what all the cool kids at school were getting into, but it wasn't my thing. I never really dug it. There were some kids at school that knew about some classic rock stuff and were a little turned on to the grunge scene developing, but when it came down to it, I relied on my older cousins. They were 15 and 18 at the time, and I rifled through some of their CDs and asked them to tape me a few. Back in those days, they would literally tape them onto a cassette tape from their CDs for me. The first 4 I picked up, I love this, because it's like this guy and I had the same musical life,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He said the first 4 I picked were Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction, Metallica, the Black Album, the Wayne's World soundtrack, and, of course, Pearl Jam 10. After that, I was hooked. I listened to that tape over and over. I became such a fan over the years. I bought the CDs the day they came out. I cut out the Best Buy ads that had the album pictures. Bought magazines just to get any pictures or information about the band and their music. I set the VCR for every SNL, David Letterman, and any time Pearl Jam was on TV. I did all that shit.
Yeah, me too.
I traded drumming equipment for a VHS copy of the MTV Unplugged, which also had the MTV special Pearl Jam Past, Present, and Future, and the Unplugged Tower Records performances. I bought every Maxi CD single, remember those? Mm-hmm. Man, and as many bootlegs as I could afford. I remember paying $50 for the No Fucking Messiah bootleg and the We're Jamming bootleg. A few friends at school told me that they had a box set of unreleased material, live performances you can't get anywhere, and tracks from the band before they were Pearl Jam. I never believed it. They called it the hallucinogenic recipe. I looked everywhere, and some stories said they had it once but sold out. Oh, sorry, not stories. Some stores said they had it once but sold out. I wanted this treasure so bad, but just could not find it. The first year of college was 1999, and I went to the local record shop down the street from my dorm to see what bootlegs they had, and to my surprise, they had the holy grail that I had been chasing, the box set of hallucinogenic recipe. I spent $100 of my meal plan money to buy it, and it was worth every penny. I owe this band so much. I got into all kinds of music because of them. My already growing interest in The Who grew exponentially when I learned Eddie liked them. I gave punk music a chance and fell in love with that, which led to my eventual discovery of my second favorite band, Hot Water Music. My love of vinyl I owe to them, trying to collect as many of their LPs as I can. Pearl Jam planted the seed of meaning in music for me. I wanted to stop right there. I really like the way he said that, because I kind of feel like Pearl Jam was one of the first bands that wasn't just cool, or they weren't just a good band, or and I've talked about it before, but my other really huge kind of favorite band is Zeppelin. And I mean, there is, I guess, good stuff lyrically or whatever, but you don't really listen to Zeppelin for the lyrics.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And Pearl Jam as a kid was the first one that I felt like, you know, as people say, like they were speaking to me, you know, or writing songs for me.
Oh, yeah.
They showed me that you can be a great person along with being a great musician and rock star. This band helped me through tough times in my life with the loss of my dad in 2009. Backspacer came out a month or so later, and every time I hear Just Breathe, I get pretty emotional. I also saw them in Chicago shortly after my dad had passed away, and it was one of the first times I got out of the house. They played Man of the Hour at the show, and I lost it a little bit, trying to cover up some tears by chugging the oversized, overpriced beer. The band was there for me with the breakup of lovers throughout high school and college. They were there for me when I was angry at the world, etc. But most importantly, this band has shared great times with me in my life. All the road trips, both as a kid and as an adult, all the parties and late night hangouts with my friends. The morning of my wedding, I listened to all of 10. The last song of my wedding was Yellow Ledbetter. Learning how to play drums like Dave A., or how to do better fills from Matt fucking Cameron. They've been there with me throughout my entire life. I've been a member of the 10 Club since 1997, brief stint in 1995, but forgot to renew it like an idiot for 2 years. That happened to me a ton. Seeing them live is an experience, and I try to take a different friend with me to the show every time they do a tour, just so I can share the band and the thrill of seeing them live with someone who has never seen them. I love to look over at them during the show and see the look of shock in their face that says, "Oh, this is why you like them so much. I get it now." Sorry this email is so long. I tried to keep it short and just hit some highlights. I'd love to continue to write you guys if you dug some of my story. I've got a lot of stories I didn't even get to. Thanks for everything you do. Keep it up. If you ever need any help, let me know. Well, he signs off as Dick E. Dickie. Yeah. But that was our story this week from Richard Huntwork. It was a good one, man.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, I had No Fucking Messiah and We're Jamming.
Yep.
Those bootlegs. And the hallucinogenic recipe box set. I had that too. A buddy of mine, Don, my best friend Don.
Yeah.
He actually bought it for me because we would go to this little indie record store in Kenosha, and I would see it like behind the counter with the $100 price tag.
Yeah.
And I just would drool every time. And he finally got it for me one day.
That's awesome.
It's awesome. I mean, at the time it was awesome. I mean, you can find all that stuff online now, but back then it was just awesome.
I can't remember if I had bought that one, but I know I had No Fucking Messiah, and I still have
We're Jamming.
But
the hallucinogenic whatever recipe.
Hallucinogenic.
It was 4 discs, and that had like Unplugged on it. It had the Stone demos on it, and it had like a disc of just one-off songs. I'm pretty sure like Sitting on the Dock of the Bay was on there. Like Satan's Bed was on there live.
Right.
And it also had the Eddie demos. Like the Bad Radio. I don't even think he was in Bad Radio. It's basically just all the songs that he did like in his bedroom when he was a kid.
Oh wow.
Or teenager. Yeah, it was pretty epic to have that back then.
Yeah, I do kind of miss those days of the CD record stores that you could
also
find
had it had like a family tree of all the Seattle bands and members. It was crazy. It was this giant when you open the booklet, it was this giant like chart of all the different bands and the band members.
Right on.
So,
Yeah, that's cool shit, man.
and
Cool.
he did end his email with 311's first 2 albums are pretty good. So there.
You just had to throw that in, didn't you?
Yeah, dude, 311. I love him.
Fuck yeah, man. Down, down. Amber is the color of bright energy. Like that one?
Yeah, that's how I sing it.
Yeah. All right. Thanks again, Richard. All right.
Yeah.
What
thank
you got
Dick
next?
E. We have got, I mean, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but John Farrar, who was our intro this week,
Yeah.
we kind of emailed a little bit back and forth talking about Dave A. And just kind of like, just talking about how he kind of mishandled the whole Rock and Roll Hall of Fame snub.
Right.
You know, and I mean, I pretty much agree with him. He basically was saying like he just kind of was pretty immature about it, you know?
Sure.
And it kind of put a bad taste in people's mouth, you know?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like he was an incredible drummer, you know?
Right.
So
Yeah, man. I still kind of like go back and forth about it. Not that
Yeah.
it's a huge deal, but I also kind of. I mean, how many things did he put out there though about? I mean, he had like one thing that came out of an interview, and then one thing that he had put out on Facebook, right?
yeah, but he was commenting on
Oh, was
when
he?
people, yeah, the stuff he put out on Facebook, like people would comment on there and he would reply, and it was just,
Okay, that makes sense.
he
I mean, I
kinda-
didn't do all that kind of. I
Yeah.
didn't look at that stuff, but
yeah. Well, and then there's people that were like, you know, defending him and saying what pieces of shit Eddie and Pearl Jam are. You know what I mean? And and then there's people saying you're crazy, Dave's an asshole, and it's like neither of those things are true,
Right.
But it's all true. You know what I mean?
Sure,
It's
sure.
There's what is it? What do they say? There's 3 sides to a story, like
Right.
my side and your side and the truth.
Right.
So that's kind of how those Facebook comments went.
Yeah, see, I didn't know. Not, I guess it's because I'm not on Facebook. Like, I didn't see any of
Yeah.
that stuff. I just saw
Yeah.
the two kind of main things, and I was gonna say like, well, he just kind of put 1 or 2 statements out, and in those he did say like, this is nothing personal against like the band or blah 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 blah. But if he was entering into the whole like comment section bullshit,
Right.
it never
Yeah.
ends well.
Yeah.
Like you should know better, I think, than to
Right.
get into all
dude,
that.
It's,
But
it's that Facebook
gotcha.
comments and YouTube comment. I mean, the comment section of anything
Yeah.
is pretty toxic.
yeah, no, I agree.
So,
All right then.
but yeah, I pretty much agreed with. I think we kind of both agreed with each other that he was great, and he should have just kind of shouldn't have said anything. Like what John said was he shouldn't have said anything and let the fans speak for him.
Yeah, that would
Because
have
I
been the
don't
smart thing to do.
I mean, I don't think anyone thinks he's a bad drummer.
Hell no.
You know?
Yeah.
So, whatever. But
Well, and maybe that's kind of like a kind of example of why it didn't work out. You know, like Facebook
Yeah.
comments and all that kind of stuff. But
yeah.
anyway,
All right. Well,
let's move on.
Yeah. Speaking of Dave A, Stewart writes in, "Hey, hi B&B. I thought I'd throw my 2 cents in on the drummer conversation that always seems to be a topic of debate amongst the fans. I've enjoyed your perspectives on the subject and agree it is really tough to pick one over the others. Personally, when I think of any band, I always go to the classic lineup first, so in that instance, Dave A is my guy. Along with Pearl Jam, my other favorite bands are Soundgarden and Red Hot Chili Peppers, so I'll always have a soft spot in my heart for Jack and Matt, and love the crossover between these three. If you think of bands like, for instance, the Chili Peppers, the classic lineup that almost everyone would say is Anthony, Flea, John, and Chad. That isn't to discount what Hillel Slovak, Jack, Dave Navarro, and Josh, is it Klinghoffer?
Maybe. I don't know.
Josh K. Josh K have done for them, but you're always going to go back to them at their creative best or most successful. Other examples come to mind like Metallica, Alice in Chains, Guns N' Roses, hell, even the Beatles. As I mentioned earlier, it does not discount what Jack and Matt have brought to the band. As you've both said before, Jack saved them at a critical time. Is an incredible drummer, and I consider No Code and Yield to be some of my favorite records. As for Matt, he is a legend in his own right, and has brought that consistency the band needed. 20 years behind the stool is no mean feat, and considering he was on those early demos, it's kind of poetic that it all came full circle. Dave Cruzen and Matt Chamberlain will always have their place in the Pearl Jam legend, and are great musicians, but can't really ever be considered as definitive Pearl Jam drummers due to time served and impact. Dave A. was in the thick of it when they broke. You look at Unplugged, Pink Pop, Lollapalooza, etc., and he tore that shit up. It was a shame things went the way they did, and I was really gutted that he and Jack were not inducted with the rest of the guys, as they both certainly earned their spot. I totally agree with all that. Anyway, there's my thoughts on the debate. And by the way, it cracked me up that I got Brad L. to say humping and dumping on the podcast.
Yeah.
When my brother-in-law used to be on Tinder, that was how he used to refer to his dates. That or smash and dash. So any opportunity to put that into an email is always funny to me. Have a good one, Stuart.
Jesus.
Yeah, dude. Humping and dumping.
God. Yeah, I think that's like the first and only time I've ever said that combination of words.
Oh, I loved it.
Man. Well, thanks, Stuart. Appreciate it, dude. All right, so we got Bagel next, writing in about Dave A.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Can just read his email title.
Oh,
because I like
the subject.
That made me laugh. Yeah, the subject line.
Yeah, it says Dave A. and Versus and Diddly Drummers. He says, so much time on the interwebs has been spent on the topic of Dave A., including by Dave A. himself.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes more sense now. I feel sort of dirty even considering opining on the topic. I'm going to try and keep it as brief as humanly possible on a complex topic. Dave A. was a great drummer in this band. Dave A. was not an astute observer of his surroundings. It is not as if he was born and raised in Seattle, grew up with and went to school with the guys, then was unceremoniously ousted in a coup. I'm compelled to point out something that another listener emailed in regards to Dave A. and Jack weeks ago. In short, they had said that Dave A. was better than Jack, and he can't listen to songs like Brain of Jay or Red Mosquito because Dave A. played them better live. That never happened. Dave A. never performed on those songs ever. The live versions that fan liked were from 1995 with, not surprisingly, Jack Irons. I wish he could have figured out how to mesh with all the guys, but the fact that nearly 25 years later he is still griping about his exit says a lot to me. His ability and his artistry is not an issue. I humbly submit, given the topics of the last 2 weeks, listen to the studio recording of Daughter with headphones. There is a beat that he lays down just after the first verse begins and stays pretty much steady right up until the outro. I used to think it was the kick drum because it felt like the only thing that could humanly make sense, but the sound says snare. Anyway, listen to that and it stays absolutely consistent but for one part. Given the theme of the song, the beat he is laying down is disturbingly haunting. You can take it from a couple of angles. The kid methodically pounding their fist on the wall, or in a much darker tone, the kid being struck almost like with a belt. Drummers are people too. Dave A. was a good one. That's from Bagel. Man,
yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
Bagel coming through. With
yeah, dude. I love, like,
on the higher level.
Yeah, totally. I mean, and you know how simply it's this third paragraph, just 2 sentences, could have been the whole email, I feel like, which was Dave A. was a great drummer in this band. Dave A. was not an astute observer of his surroundings. I think that is probably absolutely true.
Yeah.
You know, so, Thanks for the insight there, Bagel. Appreciate it, dude. He's also one of our patrons.
He is.
Yeah, man.
We'll get to that.
Let's see here. Oh, you've got... Janon's next.
Janon. Hi, Brad and elderly Brad. Versus episode was so funny. As I was listening to its last part this morning, I laughed at Brad B's confession that he was the elderly woman behind the counter in a small town Eddie was talking about. At that moment, I saw some of the students around me were looking at me strangely. You should that should be a drop that you just put in like whenever. Like, I was that elderly woman.
I was the elderly woman.
She goes on to say, can't deny me. I really like it. The chorus sounds a bit simple, but the rest is awesome. Especially the riff and the opening part. The cash register sound perfectly fit to the content of the song, and it reminds me of Pink Floyd's Money. I like its lyrics, and I like them saying something about what's going on in your country. Maybe you think that it's not my business at all, but I empathize with you. I saw very bad comments about the song on Facebook. Some people are angry at Pearl Jam because they wrote another political song. I understand that not everyone has to deal with politics, but I don't see why they attack Pearl Jam that much. I think American people should be thankful to Pearl Jam because they're raising their voices for those who can't. I wish musicians here in Turkey could do it too. They used to do it 5 years ago when the government wasn't that powerful and couldn't control everyone. But now if a rock band makes a song criticizing the government's policies, they'll be put in jail. I'm not joking. There are hundreds of journalists in prison just because they were using one of their basic human rights, which is freedom of speech. I think Americans should be thankful that they have freedom of speech and can say anything against even the president. I don't want to bore you with too much politics, but I wanted to share that with you. One last thing, it's been a long time, and I don't know if you remember it, but what you said about my intro made me so happy. Brad L. said that he was grinning from ear to ear when he heard it. I hope we can meet in person one day. Thanks for all of these great episodes, and thanks for reading my story this week. I liked your comments about it. Take care, and talk to you soon. Best, Janon.
Thanks, Janon.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, I'm glad...
Dude,
what?
Go ahead.
No, you go.
No, you do. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like...
I think that...
Well, no, but I was... oh, God.
Yeah.
Okay, can I start? Or are you going to start?
I'm going to drink some water.
Okay, cool. No, I mean, I just like what she said about people giving them shit for writing another political song. I don't know, dude. I mean, let's see how to say... I don't want to say this without being a dick. Yeah, man. I mean, that's what art is about. I'm not saying it's about politics, but what it's about is when you are someone that creates things, and in this case a song, you are observing your own life, the world of the people around you, and then sometimes, you know, depending on what it is, like a global scale as well, and you're kind of filtering that through your own personal experiences, and that's what art is. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah,
totally.
And it's like, I get it, man. You don't agree with the politics, or I don't know.
I mean, I know you're not on Facebook, but man, she's right. There's so many people just going off about, and it's one thing if you just don't like the song,
right?
You know what I mean,
right?
But there's the majority of people dogging the song is based on the politics of the song. I think we mentioned this last week. You don't know what the song's about. He doesn't mention anyone by name. Right. So he could be, it's like, why is it not why go? The song Go, we find out years later it's about a pickup truck. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, you could take it however you want.
Well, there's that, and it doesn't even matter if he does. I mean, yeah. I mean, even if he said Trump in that song, right, or whatever, it's like,
yeah,
I don't know. Get over it. That's how he sees it. Number one. Number two, is it really that surprising? we're talking about Eddie
This
Vedder.
band? Right.
Yeah.
Talking about
Well,
Pearl
and
Jam
not just Eddie,
Vedder
but
and-
yeah, the whole band. Like,
Right.
they're very involved in not necessarily in politics, but yeah.
Well, if you're a new fan, then maybe this band isn't for you.
Right.
But if you're an old fan, you should know that's what they do.
Sure.
You know, go listen to the majority of songs are not about politics.
Right.
That's the other thing. It's not like every song on every album is all about politics, you know?
Sure. No, I agree. It's just frustrating. Anyway, but thank you, Janon, for another well-worded, well-thought-out email. Appreciate
It's
it.
interesting. It is interesting to get someone from another country's view
Yeah,
on the
I
whole
love
thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Yeah. I thank you, Janon. I liked it.
Yeah, even though you aren't a political person, which
I'm
is
not.
total bullshit. We could talk about that one paragraph for a long time, but
Yeah.
and maybe Janon, maybe one day we'll meet in person and we can sit down.
Oh,
and
dude, that's
do
what I was gonna
that.
say. I don't know. You ever just like have a feeling? Somehow we're gonna meet her in person.
Hell yeah, man.
So
It'll
happen.
Yeah, that'd be kick ass. Okay, cool. Well, and now we've got an email from one of her friends through the show, Miss Kate Cotton. She says, "Hey, Brads, I feel like it's been a while. Miss you guys. I don't know how you've been surviving without my constant deluge of emails. I've been crazy busy these days, but lucky for you, the fourth nor'easter of this month has blessed me with a snow day and some extra time to share some of my recent thoughts. First, we're going back to the Versus episode, which took me 3 days worth of commuting to finish, by the way, new record. Again, as a younger fan, I don't know if you can understand my envy I feel when I know that you had the opportunity to live through the time period when this music was released. And for some reason, this album makes me feel particularly envious regarding this situation. I imagine myself waiting and waiting and waiting for a new Pearl Jam record, having no clue what to expect. Internet leaks don't exist, and the day finally comes. I purchase that album, take it home with me, and listen to Go for the first time, and my brain fucking explodes and melts through my nasal cavities. And I realize that I will love this band with every inch of me until the day I die. And I lock myself away to listen to it over and over for days, to the point where loved ones worry I may have entered a coma. But alas, I have to settle for the time period where streaming services rule the land, and 95% of the music that's ever existed is accessible beneath the clickety-clack of my fingertips. I know, such a hard life, but it takes a little bit of the fun out of it, doesn't it? Anyway, I want to thank you guys for sharing your personal experiences from that time so I can live vicariously through you. All that being said, I think Go is the greatest Pearl Jam album opener by far. Speaking of waiting for new Pearl Jam, this new song, I'm so with you guys. I fucking love it. I will admit the first listen I wasn't so sure. After about 15 listens, I was like, okay, yeah, this is pretty cool. But then something happened within the last few days, and it's like a switch has flipped in my brain, and I'm obsessed with it. I think maybe the live performance from Santiago was the game changer. There's something so raw and visceral about it. I love the main guitar part, and Eddie's voice just rips right through me. I can't get enough. And since becoming a fan, this is the first time I've experienced what it's like to wait for new Pearl Jam music. This girl is so fucking psyched out of her mind. I hope you are both finding yourself well these days. We're pretty good, thanks. Thanks again for sharing my PJ story, and thanks to the people who reached out to me after they heard it. And for the record, Lions, the story was meant to be both humorous and sentimental, so I take no offense in you finding it hilarious. Thank you, Kate. Best always, Kate Cotton. And she says, P.S. Stop teasing us with the allure of bonus episodes and not following through. I know.
Yeah,
That's
we'll
our
get to
fault. We're reworking some things, and it kind of got lost in the shuffle. So I promise we'll make it up to you guys. But thanks, Kate.
Thank you.
All right, what you got next?
Jeff,
Jeff,
Brads. I'm still enjoying the podcast a lot, trying to catch up on all the episodes. I just recently listened to Pink Pop 92 episode, and I wanted to add a comment or two and a question. First, while I think the 92 show was really good, I actually think Pink Pop 2000 performance was even better. When you compare the two, you can really see the growth and maturity of the band as a unit, and they also have a much larger library of songs to play from. Standout songs from that performance for me are Habit and Rival. Matt
Crapperin.
Matt Cameron just crushes it on Rival, and McCready looks like the coolest guitarist on the planet here. Plus, Eddie still has the intensity of 92, just without all of the bravado. And he wants us to do an episode on that.
Oh, we will.
Yeah. Have you seen that?
What, 2000?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I've never watched it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Because in my head, I'm like, well, it can't be better than 92, so it's just another bootleg.
It's just different.
Yeah.
You know?
But now I'm just like, well, I'm going to have to.
Yeah, you definitely should watch it. It's pretty kick-ass.
Yeah, that's on the list of show ideas. I also caught the Versus episode the other day. I have to tell you that when Brad B said that he was the elderly lady behind the counter in a small town.
Man, you fucking won with that, dude. We've gotten so many comments and emails about that.
I know, I love it. Well, I think it was Janan. I told somebody, like, I think it's funny that people like that so much, because I have this weird thing where I wasn't trying to be funny when I said it. I know.
Most of your funniest stuff is just you being you. I've learned that. I learned that really quick in our friendship.
I see the humor in it now, but at the time, that's not what I was thinking.
Right.
So I thought it's just funny that the people have really latched onto that. But he said he had a pull over in my truck as I was laughing so hard. That was hilarious. So you're welcome. He says, also, Brad Lyons was talking about Zeppelin. Excuse me. About Led Zeppelin and his favorite albums. I, too, am a huge Zeppelin fan and have been since I was 15. He said something about, sounded like he heard a diss of Physical Graffiti from you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know. Maybe I just had a weird voice. I love that record.
Okay.
Yeah, that was never... Maybe. I don't think it's like my... maybe I was just saying it's not like my favorite Led Zeppelin record, because it's not, but I think it's a great record. The only ones that, and I still don't even hate, like In Through the Outdoor or Presence, those last couple records, but no, man, sorry if I gave the impression that I don't like old Physical Graffiti, because I do. So.
Yeah. Well, he says that's his favorite, and he thinks they're best as it really shows the incredible diversity of the band and showcases all of their best elements. So if you are trying to get into Led Zeppelin, go get Physical Graffiti.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's Jeff's choice, and yours too, I guess.
Well, I mean, it would be a good contender for, like, if you're new and you want to kind of hear a range of what they do, you know, I think that'd be a good one. So yeah. I agree with that.
Thanks again for the podcast and for giving myself and other listeners the opportunity to voice our opinions about the best band in the world. I'll stop trying to make a difference. No way.
No way.
Peace. Jeff K.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
All right, let's see here. Oh, it's the last one. All right.
Yeah. What do you got?
We got a new listener from the UK writing in here. This is
G'day, mate.
Wrong country.
Oh, yeah.
My bad.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
All right,
mate.
Yeah, cheers. Cheers, Robert.
Yeah, Robert Haynes. He says, "Hi, Brad and Brad. Just wanted to say how great I found the podcast to be." Wait a minute. Did I just have a stroke? Did I? You? Just wanted to say how great. Oh, man. No, but I quit.
Slow down.
It'll just be Brad solo from now on.
Hey, guys. So We're gonna talk about.
I'm gonna talk. Just me,
I'm gonna
Brad
talk
B.
about. Yeah, Brad B here. I'm gonna talk about. I'm just Brad now because.
Oh yeah,
it's just me.
You're just Brad.
It's just Brad.
Single podcast theory with Brad.
Mm-hmm.
Just wanted to say how great I found the podcast to be since stumbling upon it via the Porch Forum. Ooh. I'm up to the No Code episode so far. No Code was the first Pearl Jam record I heard back in 1996, and it remains my favorite to this day. As you've suggested in earlier episodes, the first cut is often the deepest when discovering a band's music. However, not having been part of the Pearl Jam online community, it came as a genuine shocker to discover in 2018 that I wasn't the only fan on Earth who would rank No Code at number 1. I always assumed that other fans would shit on anyone who dared rank it above 10 versus Invitology. Well, you are in good company, my friend. No Code was nothing less than an education in music for me at that time. Having previously been mainly into metal, it opened my ears to musical subtlety sometimes. Cool song outros, Hail Hail, Eastern musical elements, Who You Are, blues rock, Smile, folk, Off He Goes, garage rock, Habit, guitar noodling that actually enhances a song, Red Mosquito, punk, Lucan, spoken word.
I'm open.
Oh, we didn't even talk about that before. That was nice.
That was, yeah. That worked out really
We got like
good.
a Vulcan mind meld going on. And turbocharged surf rock, Mankind, which I love. It works better with Stone on vocals and has such a catchy, witty chorus. If you haven't already,
thank you, Robert.
I'm gonna respond to that in just a second. Hold on.
Okay.
If you haven't already, I hope a future episode can touch on the Brad album Interiors from 1997. Yeah, man. I mean, we are gonna continue to find the right times to do all the side projects, so that will be in the future. I don't know when, but it will be there. Finally, I think it was Brad Lyons who mentioned in the No Code episode his dislike of overproduced heavy metal. If you haven't, I was going to ask you about this. He was talking about a band, their debut record was from 95, a band called Down. Have you heard them before?
Yes.
You had? Do you like it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, dude. The singer is,
I wonder how I
Phil
missed that.
Anselmo.
His
Yeah,
what?
I don't know how.
It's what?
Phil Anselmo.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. And they're similar to Pantera.
Okay, maybe I would have.
So, yeah.
Maybe if I listen to it, I'll go, that record.
I haven't dug real deep into them, but after we got this email, I listened to that first album, and yeah, it's if you like Pantera, you'll love
Pantera.
Down. Yeah,
all right, cool.
Dude,
I'll listen to it tonight then.
But Phil has got like 4 different side projects,
right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, Down's good.
Okay, cool. He says, keep up the good work. Rob from the UK. Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
Well, and what I was going to say is that something has happened. I was driving down the road, and I was just listening to No Code, top to bottom, and Mankind came on. I didn't even think about switching it or skipping it, and I was singing along, not in like an ironic, funny way. I was actually just like, I caught myself singing along with it. Yeah, dude.
Yeah. All right.
Kind of turned the corner. I mean, I still think it's the worst song on the record, but yeah.
Well, I have my own turning the corner.
Oh, you did?
But yeah. Again, I'm not all the way there, but Pink Floyd, what is it? Comfortably Numb?
Mm-hmm.
Pearl Jam played that the other night.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? I think I like this song. Not everything, but I'm coming around.
It's a good song,
to,
man.
Yeah.
We're gonna ease you into it, man.
Yeah, that's
Clint and I are
going to
find a way to ease you into this.
But yeah, he mentioned finding us through the porch.
Yeah, which is awesome.
And we got. I'm gonna read a quick message we got. Somebody posted on there. This is Severed Hand 13. He says, please, someone explain to me why I just started listening to this podcast. I have a pretty long drive to work every day, often travel from New York City to Virginia, and do a lot of cardio where I need stuff to keep me distracted. This podcast will entertain me in all those areas for a long time to come. Love the discussions I've heard so far, and even when I disagree, I understand where the hosts are coming from and appreciate the thought process. This is what's great about Pearl Jam and music in general. We all have different ears and brains, which make our experiences different. Thanks to the Brads for providing great content about the best band in the world. I'm trying to kill some time before my 27th and 28th shows in Boston.
Damn! Hell yeah.
This podcast will help me get there.
Cool.
Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, dude.
That's really kind.
That dude, yeah, really nice of him to say that, and it's kind of feels good to hear that from this dude in particular, because I've seen him. I don't think I've ever interacted with him, but I've seen him on the porch. I recognized his handle.
Oh, right on.
So
cool.
He's been on there a bunch. So that was pretty cool.
Well, and that's a pretty, for me anyway, I think you'll agree, that's a pretty high compliment, hearing that even when he disagrees with us, he still feels like he understands. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like that kind of discourse. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's nice that, they don't just shut it off. Like, fuck those guys.
Well, and hopefully we don't come across as we definitely have our opinions and stuff, but hopefully we don't come across as this is the way you have to like it, or whatever. You know what I mean? I hate that shit.
I love that voice.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's a good one.
You just can't, you want me to do a whole show like this?
Yeah.
No.
So what do we got next?
Well, next, just wanted to...
I thought you were going to do
Coming
it
up
in
next.
that voice. Yeah, there you go.
Bro. But that was Joe?
That was Joe.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it, dude.
Thanks, Joe.
All right, cool. Well, now we're going to move on really quickly, just to, especially if you're just getting into the show or whatever, we do now have a Patreon page. You can find us. The website is patreon.com/singlepodcasttheory, and it's just a cool, easy way, another kind of level to engage with us and the show, and also support the show. None of the money is going, to pay our bills, anything like that. As far as personal bills, it's just to help grow the show. So if you guys want to do that, that would be awesome. If you can't, no worries. But we do have some new patrons this week. You got the list?
Very good. Yes, I do. Chris Perea. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm sorry if I'm not. Perea.
Mm-hmm.
Matthew McWhorter, who we've gotten emails from him before. Kate Cotton.
Kate.
Bagel.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Bogle. Is it Boogle or Bogle? Or
I think I've always
Bogle,
said Bogle.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, Bogle. Sorry. I always say Bagel, but then I was like, well, maybe I should say his real name for this.
Yeah, give him some fucking respect,
yeah.
Brad B.
Patrick Bogle and Jim Smith.
Man.
So thank you guys. I'm sorry, Tim Smith.
Tim Smith.
I got it.
Well, we just lost one of our patrons.
Yep,
Thanks,
I know.
Brad. Thanks. Real professional, bud. No, but
My
seriously.
notes are scribbly.
Thank you. We've only been doing it for 2 weeks now, and the support has been amazing. So thank you guys
seriously,
so much.
thank you guys so much.
It's really humbling. So that was our Patreon spiel. We did the emails. So yeah, man. I think it's time to move on to the Lexington show.
Okay. Do you want to talk about Lollapalooza real quick?
Oh, how long have we been talking?
I don't know.
Let me go look and see what our time is.
Here, I can see it right here. Oh, God, an hour? Well, that's an hour.
It's probably
You
been
there or
about
no?
45 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, it says an hour and 4 minutes, but that was when you clicked on. So.
Right.
I mean, just real quick. I mean, we don't have to go through the whole set list.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I hope not. That would be like 2 hours until we got to the show.
No, I just
what do you
wanted
want
to
to
point
say
it
about
out. Just that they played last night, and it was awesome, and there was a couple of special
Okay, cool.
special treats.
Let me think about where we are for editing. God, what did I say?
You were saying that was our Patreon spiel, and that was it.
Oh, and I said, and we did our emails. So maybe you just kind of pop in and just say, real quick before we move on.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, just do that real quick.
Okay. So real quick before we move on to the Lexington show, the time we're recording this, they played Saturday night. So if you're hearing this on Monday, it was 2 nights ago. They played another Lollapalooza show in Brazil. And they tweeted, Pearl Jam Radio tweeted out, like, it's a good day to be a Pearl Jam fan. And me and you kind of went back and forth thinking it was going to be like a new album. But they announced that they were going to stream this show live.
Yeah.
So
if you live, are you talking about the audio?
Well, if you lived in Brazil, you could watch it on YouTube.
Right.
And for anyone else that has Sirius XM radio, you could have listened to it there. But there were ways to work around that. So
as he twists his mustache.
Right. Mm-hmm. Internet nerds, I love you for helping me watch the show.
Yeah, right.
But anyway, so I mean, I know you didn't get to really you watched the first, or you heard the first few songs and that was it.
Yeah, I mean, and I couldn't keep listening to it, unfortunately, but I was like, motherfucker, they opened with Wash and Into Corduroy. I would have loved to have seen that as the openers. Holy shit.
It was I was expecting another quote unquote festival set list.
Right.
But they come out with Wash, then they rocked out for 4 or 5 songs. Mm-hmm. They played Can't Deny Me, which, again, Eddie kind of talked about the all the high schoolers marching, because that was going on back here in the U.S. before the show started. And it was awesome. I mean, that song, every time I hear it live, because this is like the 3rd or 4th time they've played it live, I just like it more and more.
Dude, live it's sick. Eddie fucking goes for it in those verses, man. Woo!
And he's going, cowbell. He goes nuts on that cowbell. It's fucking awesome.
He goes straight cowbell, dude. You're right. Yeah. I love that. Is that what you just said? He goes cowbell? That was amazing. Dude, he went straight up cowbell on that bitch. That fucking song. Yeah. Yeah, man. I dig it.
He tore that cowbell up. So, yeah, but then Perry Farrell came out and they played Mountain Song.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah,
that was awesome. They played Breath.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
They did a little snippet of a Talking Head song called Pulled Up.
Hell yeah.
Let's see. I'm kind of scrolling through here. They played Hold On. Come on, dude.
I know.
The show was awesome.
I know. I was so pissed when I read the set list.
It was pretty great. And you know what's great is, like, I'm so used to watching these shows on Periscope, so it's like awful video, awful sound. It cuts out. You got to find another Periscope or Facebook Live. And this was like beautifully produced, and there's camera angles and close-ups, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
So the encore, they came back out and did Smile, Comfortably Numb, Alive, Bob O'Reilly, and then Yellow Ledbetter, but it was like cut short. I guess there was a hard curfew.
Oh.
10:30 curfew, and like it was like Eddie like was barking out like commands to Mike, like hey man, like we gotta go. And the song just ended like at, I don't know how to say it. There was like no the whole band stops, but
just
Mike
like a hard stop. Yeah.
Yeah, they just stopped. They just pretty much stopped the song and didn't pretty much. They didn't let Mike do his like his whole ending thing.
Oh, at the end,
it just was done. We're
That's
done.
funny.
So, but it was awesome. I mean, they sounded great. The show they performed really good. So I just wanted to throw that in there real quick.
Hell yeah, man. Getting hopefully little
Yeah,
snippets of what we can expect in the States.
Yeah, dude.
So
yeah, I can't wait for Can't Deny Me.
yeah.
So.
Oh, dude, I can't wait to hear what the rest of the record is going to sound like.
You know what I want? Dude, I want to get to Chicago 2 days early, get in line, in the GA line, and I want Eddie's drumstick.
All right.
So,
All right.
can we make that happen?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'll just call him. It's fine. No worries.
So,
All right, cool. Well, thanks for giving us the rundown.
yeah, it was awesome.
All right, well, that was emails, Patreon, and Lollapalooza. So we're going to get on to Brad's recount of the Lexington show. Tell me your story.
Pearl Jam in Lexington, April, what was it, 26th?
26th.
Oh, you knew?
Yeah, man. 2016, dude.
Yeah, April 26, 2016, Lexington, Kentucky. We'll go back, though, a few months. Before this, the rumor was, before they announced this 2016 tour, the rumor was that one of the cities they were coming to was Nashville, and that they were going to be playing at Bridgestone. And I was psyched. Because Bridgestone's like the closest arena to me, at like just at 2 hours
2
away.
hours, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that'd be great, because they never come here. And then at the last minute, they announced the tour, and that they weren't playing in Nashville. They were playing at fucking Bonnaroo. And I am not a festival person.
Fuck that forever.
Yeah, right.
I have absolutely zero desire to ever go to Bonnaroo.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, and Bonnaroo is like another 45 minutes to an hour south of Nashville, isn't it? Not Bonnaroo, but the city
farm.
that Bonnaroo. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little over an hour away, I believe. I mean, I never went, but I just remember when that festival started, I was living in Nashville. I remember the first time, I don't know how familiar with the idea of the festival I was or whatever, but I just remember there was one weekend where all the interstates in Nashville were packed with a bunch of dirty kids in SUVs with like hippie stickers all over it. I was like,
right.
What is there a fish show I didn't know about? Like, what's going on? They're like, oh, it's Bonnaroo. Everyone's driving in for Bonnaroo. And I was like, oh no, I'm never going to this one. I don't really hate dirty hippie kids. I'm just messing around, but yeah. Bonnaroo, for people like me that lived in Nashville, is just a pain in the ass for traffic for a weekend. You know?
Oh, I can imagine.
So, anyway, Lexington.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, I'm not going to that. But I was like, well, Lexington is like 4.5 hours away. And I wasn't like, thought about it. Like, that's kind of far. But it's Pearl Jam. And so I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to put in for tickets. And I won through the 10 Club. So got 2 GA tickets and told my son, like, if you can get the time off, I'll fly you into Lexington and we'll go to the show together. And he was like, hell yeah.
But doesn't he live in Seattle?
Yeah.
Which is hilarious.
Yeah.
You're flying him from Seattle to come to Lexington for a Pearl Jam show.
Yeah, but I didn't want to fly out there.
Oh, sure.
I guess I could have. I don't know. Whatever. Dude, man.
No, I'm not knocking it. I'm saying it's literally, it's funny that...
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well.
I don't know why we have to fight in front of everybody. It really makes people uncomfortable,
dude.
Brad.
I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know what's wrong with me today. I'm in a, like, combative mood.
Okay.
And I shouldn't be.
Well, just remember that I'm your friend and ally, not an enemy.
Yeah.
Don't yell at me,
man.
dude.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
All right. So, the day before, so my nephew got word that I was going to this concert and that his cousin was coming, and he wanted to go. And I told him, like, dude, I only got 2 tickets, and, you know, I'm sorry. But tickets, they still had tickets on sale. It wasn't sold out, but they were, like, the nosebleeds. Mm-hmm. And they were playing at Rupp Arena, which is the UK, the college up there. Mm-hmm. And Rupp Arena is huge.
Yeah, I've never been there.
Gigantic. Oh, man. It's gigantic, and the nosebleeds are straight up. I mean, just like every nosebleeds, but I mean, this place is so gigantic. I said, at the very worst, you'll have nosebleeds, but hopefully we can find someone that's got better seats, maybe even GA. He was like, yeah, fuck it, I'm going. And I said, besides that, it'll be a fun hangout with, you know, me and your cousin. Right. So he was into it. So we left the day before, drove up there, and it's, like I said, like 4.5 hour drive. We got up to the airport, picked up my son, Shane, and we drove by Rupp Arena, and there was already people, like, camped out in line.
Ooh.
In the GA line.
Right.
And I was like, oh, boy. And I'm like, I'm a princess. I can't, like, sleep out on the concrete. So we just were like, fuck it, we'll get up as early as we can and get in line and hope for the best. So we went out to Buffalo Wild Wings because the Blackhawks were playing, and it was Game 7. So I was like, well, let's go hang out. We hung out, and there was a bunch of Blackhawks fans in there, so that was cool. But we were all wearing, like, Pearl Jam gear, so we ran into a couple different fans, you know.
Right.
And it was pretty cool just talking to people that were there for the concert the next day, you know.
Sure.
So we watched the game. They lost. Blackhawks lost. That kind of sucked. But we went back to the hotel about midnight, and we were like, all right, we'll get up at like 4:30 and get down there at 5. And, you know, my nephew's alarm went off at 3 because that's what time he gets up normally for work. Whew. So, yeah, we got up at 3, couldn't fall back asleep, said fuck it, got up, and we were down there about 4:30. And there was probably 40 people in line in front of us. So that's not bad.
That's not
because
bad.
usually the rail will hold like 50 to 60 people.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, cool. We are probably going to get rail. So hanging out, the GA line is just, I mean, it's just like a family kind of atmosphere. Like everyone's there to see Pearl Jam. So we're all like fans.
Right.
And everyone's just like chilling out and cool. You know, it's kind of like a campground kind of vibe going on.
Sure.
You know, especially at 4 a.m. You know what I mean? Everyone's pretty quiet and just tired. But,
right.
You know, yeah. As the sun starts coming up and more people show up and you start like making friends and acquaintances with these people, you know, it's just kind of it's just kind of a cool thing. But the dude we were sitting next to that was already there, his name was Craig. He was there with his wife. They were from Libertyville, Illinois. And Libertyville is the town that's right next to Mundelein, where I grew up.
Oh, cool.
So I was like, that's crazy. And then the dude that showed up after we got there, his name was Nathan. He was there with his sister. Nathan's the dude that went to Wrigley with me.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
With his son.
Yeah.
And they were in Let's Play 2. So, but that's where I met him at Lexington. And then there's a girl named Jenny that showed up. She said she worked all night and then drove like 3 hours straight.
Ugh.
And she set up a tent and slept. Like, I couldn't believe it. I don't know how she slept like all day. You know what I mean? She got up around like 3 or 4 in the afternoon and then was hanging out. But I saw her at Wrigley also, which was pretty nuts because it was so random. Me and Nathan were just like walking, I think, back to my car, and she like drove by us like, "Hey guys," it was like, it was just so crazy.
What's up?
Yeah. I met a guy named Bob that's from Chicago that I've talked to him online a few times, but finally met him at the Lexington show. He's a real good dude. That's the dude that I sent you the picture of him in the bleachers at Wrigley with Eddie during a Cubs game.
Oh, yeah.
He's from Chicago, so he lives like 2 blocks from Wrigley Field, right there in Wrigleyville. So, but that was cool finally meeting him in person. And then I think so later on they open up the merch booth and people are in line, and I went and got
Was Poster World as big of a calamity or anxiety inducing situation as what you described from Wrigley?
Oh, no, actually, this wasn't that bad.
The person behind the register wasn't like, what? Huh?
No, this was a little bit easier. Plus, there was only one poster as opposed to like 5 at Wrigley.
Right.
So, but no, this went a little bit smoother. But at some point, Shane came up to me. He's like, "Dude, you got to talk to this guy. He's from Holland." I'm like, "Okay." Went over, talked to this dude and his wife, and he's from Holland. His name's like Art. I don't know how to pronounce it. Arjun.
Okay.
But anyway, real good dude. Been to a ton of shows, and he was like, "Have you ever seen the like bootleg from Holland in 1992, Den Haag?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like I've listened to it a million times. I've seen it on YouTube." He's like, "I filmed that."
What?
I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah, I've got that on disc from back in the day.
Yeah. He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I just brought a camera with me and decided to record it." And he's like, "That's me." And I'm like, "Holy shit! Like that's awesome." And he took a bunch of pictures and videos from the show and sent them to me afterwards. So that was pretty cool.
Nice.
Saw him again at Wrigley. It's like I don't go to as many shows as these people, but it's pretty cool that I've met so many people in Lexington and then, was able to hang out with them later that year,
Yeah, absolutely.
At a completely different show.
Little road family.
I mean. It's like, yeah, I mean, the GA line is, I don't know, dude. It's hard to explain. It's just such a cool vibe, man. It's like Bonnaroo.
It's been no, it's not. Well, that's one thing I'm excited about. At least we know. I mean, we're going to the Chicago shows this time around, and even if I can't like get in or whatever, if we don't figure out tickets, it's gonna be fun just hanging out with everybody.
Dude, it's gonna be fun. Yeah, I don't think we'll be in a GA line, but it's gonna be awesome. There's gonna be so many people just hanging out and running around Wrigleyville. It's gonna be cool.
Yeah, man.
So, but anyway, so the doors finally open to let us into like the next door where we're waiting to go through security. But security was a complete clusterfuck because we were all in line, one single line. And the security came out and said, "Okay, you got to come in here and line up." They had like 5 separate lines. So there was people like behind us, like filing into the other line.
At the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it became a clusterfuck. And like, there was people like that dude, Bob, because he was like first in line. He was like trying to explain to security, like, "Look, you can't, the way you just did this, like all these people have been waiting here since overnight, and at 4 a.m, like us, there's people in front of us now in these other lines,
Right.
And they're like, we're in line." You know what I mean?
Right.
So I was kind of freaking out, but they did kind of get like the first 50 people in the correct order.
Right.
You know? So we got down to the floor, and we were on the rail on Mike's side, pretty much all the way to the left side if you're facing the stage.
Right.
But we were on the rail, and we were in front of Mike like all night. It was fucking incredible.
You love that Mike side.
Oh, man. Yeah, dude. And Jeff is over there, too.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're pretty much in front of them the whole night. And Eddie's kind of a little bit farther away, but not really. You know what I mean? Because we're right there up front. So, I mean, it's fucking incredible being that close, you know?
Yeah.
So, we're standing there waiting for the show to start, and I start talking to the security guy that's in front of me. And at some point, he was like, "Hey, man, could you take some pictures, or can you send me some of your pictures if I give you my phone number?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, I'm not like the biggest fan of these guys, but I did see them at Lollapalooza in '92, and then They also played Lexington in 03, and he was at that show too. And he's like, "Tonight, obviously, because I'm working, I've got to face the crowd the whole night. So could you get me some pictures?" And I'm like, "Sure." So we exchanged numbers, and I sent him pictures like the next day. I asked him too. I said, "Hey, can you get me a set list?" Like, and he was like, "I will try." But he's like, "I can't go on the stage and get one. But
Right.
if there's one that I can reach, I'll give it to you." And they actually ended up moving that dude, like after the main set list. They switched him out. I don't know why. But so I was like, "Oh, no set list from that dude."
Yeah. It's funny,
But,
man. Yeah, people love, and I get it. Like, I mean, when I used to tour all the time, that I would just automatically like at least grab my set list and just hand it to whoever was on the rail in front of me.
Yeah.
Or get if I couldn't reach them, get the security guard to just because they all, you know, it's like that for every show. It seems like it's like someone wants a pick or a drumstick or the set list. But I do think that the set list is the most coveted thing.
Yeah,
You know?
I love getting them.
Yeah, totally.
I mean,
absolutely.
I've only got a few, but
I got a set list signed by Morphine, the band.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they played a small club here in Birmingham just a few months before Sandman died, but that was pretty kick-ass. Not only to get the set list, but then to sneak back there, and they were cool enough to sign it for me and my buddy Van. So I love that stuff, man.
Yeah, when I saw Slayer, I was able to get a set list, and I went by the buses and hung out, and Kerry King came out and signed it for me.
Oh, wow.
And me and Amanda went to see A Day to Remember a couple weeks ago, and we were trying to get a set list, but these motherfuckers, the drummer threw a drumstick out, and these two dudes were literally fighting over it. Like they would not let go of either
so
end of
weird.
it. I know. I'm just like, man. And so there was a group of these people like killing each other to try and get set lists and drumsticks, and I was like, "Let's go."
Yeah, it's really cool, but it ain't that big of a deal.
Yeah, but here's what happened. We walked past the sound guy. I'm like, "Hey, man, can I get a set list?" And he just like took it right off and handed it to me.
Nice.
So I was like, "Yeah." So I got. She caught a pick. She caught one of the dude's picks. So I made up I framed the pick and the ticket on the set list for her. So
right on.
Anyway, yeah, I don't have any Pearl Jam set lists. I wish.
We're gonna get one day, bud.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah.
It'll be. We'll get it by using dollars on eBay. That's how we'll get it.
Yeah. I do have one from 311. I know that gets you excited.
Oh. I'm gonna drive up to Paris, Tennessee, and sneak in your house and steal it. This show was one where Because I did watch, some of the YouTube stuff. I love it when bands like that come out with all the house lights up.
Oh, dude, yeah, the intro. They come out with all the lights on, and then they start playing Lightning Bolt with all the lights on.
She comes on like a storm, but you don't know where from. She was thrown like a burning meteor from miles high. Looking for a place to land, she said, if you got yourself some sand, and whatever you replied, she took as
And it's just that slow build, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I want to say it's like into the second verse.
And then they start pulling the house lights down and doing the real light show and everything.
Yeah. And you can even hear in the crowd, like, people are excited, but once the house lights come down and this, like, the show lights come on, the crowd really goes nuts. It's such a cool fucking effect. I think we talked about it before. They did the same thing, I think, in New York when they played Go. They opened with Go, and they just played this little pre-jam, and then the lights all went out, and they went into the song. So,
well, and this is one of those set lists, too. I mean, I know we're kind of doing like a quote-unquote track by track, but as someone that wasn't at the show and just looking at the set list, it's like those first 6 are Lightning Bolt, into Mind Your Manners, into Animal, into Why Go, into Deep, into Satan's Bed. That is not a slow burn opening set right there.
No, dude.
Damn.
It was incredible. And, I love Release and Oceans and Long Road. And when they open with those songs, it's a real, like, emotional, like you said, slow burn. You know what I mean? But this fucking, when they do this, because it's kind of rare, it's so, like, your mind, like, my head explodes, because I'm like, oh, this is what we're doing? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just that slow build up of Lightning Bolt, and then when that song takes off, it fucking takes off.
Yeah.
And then the band just takes off. I mean, like you said, they go into Mind Your Manners second, then Animal, then Why Go, and then Deep. Yeah.
Mike on Deep, I think it was on Deep, he's like super into it.
Yeah.
It's cool to watch just the shitty YouTube video or whatever, but
well, and that
he was,
dude, like I said, I'm on the rail, then there's the like 2 feet of the security pit, and then there's Mike on the end of the stage going fucking crazy.
Right.
It's incredible. And Jeff is like 5 feet behind him, just rocking out on his he's got like, one of those rugs, you know what I mean? Just standing in front of his amp. It was incredible. And then they start playing Satan's Bed. Which was just like, holy shit. Like, I love that song. It's a deep cut. And it was kind of cool that it was early in the set. Usually a song like that you would think would be later on.
Right.
But it was just, it's such a fun song too, you know?
Well, and they've only played it like 35, 36 times, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
it's not one of those.
It's not a common song, so.
Right. But I do have to say that Stone just lost his place. And in the second verse, he just stopped playing altogether. Yeah.
Oh, fuck it.
Yeah.
You guys know the song.
Yeah, it's just Jeff and Matt and Eddie singing. And he does eventually pick it back up, but it's pretty funny to just like, well, I'm good. I'm out.
That's the price you pay when you have the guts to, like, you know, come up with set lists right before the show, and when one of those
play a song that they haven't played but
forever,
35 times.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally.
So that was pretty cool.
Well, I love how they'll do just these abrupt, or to me anyway, abrupt transitions, like going from Satan's Bed, you know, number 6, into Elderly Woman, number 7.
I seem to recognize your face.
Right.
I mean, what a fucking vibe change right there, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
And to be honest with you, like, I'm not trying to skip us ahead. I'm just saying, like, from my perspective. So you go Satan's Bed, number 6, which totally fits in with that first part of the set. And then Elderly Woman, but it's not like they went from Elderly Woman to another acoustic type, more singer-songwriter, folky, whatever you want to call it. Then they go into Corduroy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then they're back to Sirens. It's weird how that section, and I'm not knocking it, I just, you know, transition-wise, it's just an interesting, it's one of those things the nerd side of me really wants to know when Eddie / the band were deciding on the set list, which from what I understand it's mainly Eddie, but like what made him want to go from Satan's Bed to Elderly Woman to Corduroy.
Yeah.
You know? Anyway.
I don't know if I assume I haven't done this. I should go back and look at the 03 set list, because I think from what I've heard, Eddie's like super conscious of not wanting to play the same songs
That's
in
true.
the same city.
Yep.
You know,
that could have had something to do with it.
I'll tell you something else. I have mentioned this on, I think, Facebook. But I just got the feeling that Eddie was like super pissed off about something when he first came out for these first few songs.
Oh, really?
I don't know how to describe it, but it just seemed like the only thing I could like assume is like some shit went down backstage right before they went on. And he was still in this shitty mood for the first like 4 or 5 songs. And then they got through those, and then he kind of like talked to the crowd like, "Hey, good evening everybody," that kind of thing.
Right.
And then it seemed like, okay, he's calmed down. But I swear to God, for the first 3 or 4 songs, it just seemed like he's really upset about something, you know?
Right. That's interesting, because I only say this just to throw a different perspective, because it's so, I mean, that's the beauty of a live show, is you kind of, I don't know how to say it, like, your perception of the vibe of the night is, you can't replace that by watching the YouTube videos, or you know, I mean, I'm glad that stuff's up there to watch or whatever, because when I was looking through this, knowing that we were going to talk about this show since you were there, I felt like he was in a super good mood, because he walked out with his bottle of wine and he uncorked it with his teeth, and then he puts the guitar on and Matt counts it off and Stone starts just the beginning of that riff, and Jeff and Eddie are kind of bouncing up and down to the kick drum. And it's just funny to hear that in context up against you actually being there and feeling like there was something aggressive or angry or something going on at the beginning there, you know?
Yeah, I don't know if it was just some weird subtle thing that I picked up on, and I could be totally wrong.
Sure.
But I just remember in that moment being like, what is he so mad about? You know? And I don't know. It seemed like he calmed down. But again, it could have just been me taking it the wrong way.
Well, and it could have just been him trying to put himself in the mental space to pull off those first 6 songs. I mean, Lightning Bolt's not an angry song, but the rest of them are. You know?
Yeah, that's true.
So, I don't know. So yeah, Satan's Bed. Where were we?
Elderly Woman.
Oh yeah,
Elderly Woman, and then they slowed it down for a minute for Elderly Woman, but then they came back out with Corduroy, you know.
Right.
And then Sirens.
Hear the sirens. Hear the sirens. Hear the sirens. Hear the circus so profound.
That was like.
So I know
I
you're
was
not
like,
a big fan, but was it cool live? Okay. All right.
I mean, yeah, it was all right.
I'm zipping my lip.
I skipped it last night, re-listening to this show.
Really? Oh my
Yeah.
God! You're even there and you still skip it.
Skip.
Ugh. Brad. Okay, well, what about Education then?
One question, my education is my
Education was fun. He had a little speech about, because we were at, like I said, we were at the University of Kentucky.
Right.
That's where their basketball team plays.
We're going to play this one and dedicate it to all the university intellectuals in the audience tonight. Everyone's raising their hand at once. Yeah, this is for don't I gotta say, a lot of us, some of us, I don't know. Did any of us graduate from university? Don't tell our kids. Don't tell our kids that we didn't graduate, because we're gonna try to pull off that lie for as long as we can. But as we come to university, well, I tell you, we're having a great time playing universities. This is great. We finally got to go to university. So this is for all the teachers and the students and the smart guys and the great women and it's called Education.
And you know, right? But I don't know if people around the world, even around the country.
Brad, I wouldn't
UK
assume
basketball
that I know anything.
Well, I don't. Yeah, do you? When I say UK basketball, what do you know about that?
Nothing. For a second earlier when you said that, I was like, what does Britain have to do with this?
Oh. Holy shit, dude. Okay. Well, UK basketball is like, well, if I say Roll Tide, you know what that means.
Well, yeah, I grew up in Alabama.
Okay. Well, that's like,
I mean, that shit's in my face every day.
That's like UK basketball is a huge fucking deal up here. So after Sirens, Eddie starts talking about UK and the basketball team's coach and just some of that stuff. And it was funny because half the crowd started like cheering and then half of them started like booing. So I'm sure there's a lot of non-UK fans there that were booing. It was pretty funny. But Ed said something about, well, when you look up at all those flags or banners, which is all the banners for the games they've won, or I don't know.
Right.
It makes it like, it sounds a lot better in here because of all the banners.
Oh, right.
So, kind of like a fuck you to all the people booing, I guess.
Right.
So, yeah, then they go into education, which you talk about a rare song.
Yeah, no joke.
That is a really, I think I should have looked it up.
It's been played
I wanna say
9 times.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. Yeah. So,
That's
and this was
badass,
the
dude.
first time in 5 years that they had played it.
Woo.
So then Eddie said something about, what did he say? Something about Mike tried to go to college, but I'm glad he didn't because he wrote this song, or wrote this, something about this next song. Then they kick into Even Flow. Which, yeah, fucking awesome.
Which,
Fucking awesome.
yeah. I mean, you know how I
No?
feel about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was funny. I was at home the other day. Both Leslie and I had were lucky enough to kind of have like short days for some reason. I can't remember what was going on, but I was in the kitchen and our garage, like you pull into the garage and then you walk into the kitchen. That's where you enter the house in the garage. And I heard the garage door open and she pulls up and I hear my voice, which means she's listening to the podcast.
She's listening to the show, yeah.
And so I go ahead and open the door that leads to the garage, and she's shut the car off and opened the door. She's like, "You're a snob." And I was like, "Cool, thanks, appreciate it." She's like, "I'm Brad Lyons. I don't listen to a lot of bootlegs because da 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 da." And I was like, "Oh my god, that's cool."
I'm glad she still listens.
Yeah, she's trying to get caught up.
Cool. Hey, Leslie.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't even get a break at home. Anyway.
Yeah. Give him hell.
Well, I just bring that up because Even Flow's one that I've said that's like, if I'm at a show, hell yeah. I mean, they're most likely going to play it. I'm not bummed that they're going to play Even Flow. But if I'm also walking into a show and I'm thinking about, man, what are the songs that I would love to hear? And maybe it's because I know I'm probably going to hear Even Flow. But it's just not... It's not like on the top of my wish list, I guess, you know?
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, I love that song. I love it live.
Yeah,
so.
it's a great fucking song. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Then, Spin the Black Circle. Again, back to just fucking rocking out.
Yeah.
You know?
This set list is really schizophrenic now that I'm really kind of looking through it. You know?
Yeah. Well, they make up for... I mean, we'll get to it, but the encore is the opposite of the intro, the first 6 songs. It's very slow. And
super chill, yeah.
Oh, my God. Yeah, but we'll get there. So after Spin the Black Circle is Army Reserve.
got a lot of rare songs.
Yeah.
Army Reserve's only been played 30 times.
Yeah. Again, I the only thing I can figure is because it's Lexington and they don't play, they don't play the South that much.
Right.
So I can only assume he wanted to pack it with some rarer ones.
Sure.
Which was fine with me.
And a nice little shout out for vets too before that.
We played to a lot of active service members in the military. We played to a lot of veterans on this tour. And I know there's some here tonight, so we sure are glad you're here and not anywhere else. And I hope you get to stick around, and I hope our government really pays attention and makes sure that everyone's taken care of after you've done all the hard friggin' shit already.
Yeah. Yeah, Thomas Young, I think he was talking about Thomas Young, who was a soldier that got hurt. And I think he wrote a book, or somebody else wrote a book. No, there's another dude wrote a book about him. And Eddie was just kind of giving him a shout out and thanking him for telling his story.
Right.
And I think it's I'll get it wrong and someone can correct me, but I think the book is called like Thomas Young's War.
Okay.
Something like that. Then we get Daughter, which I always like.
Right. What was the tag on this one?
Another Brick in a Wall.
We don't need no education. We don't need no dark sarcasm.
Then we get Half Full.
That's another kind of rare one.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, it was cool hearing that one.
Let me see here on my stat tracker app. Yeah, 74 times.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Does it say the last time it was played?
Last played was in 2016, June 9th, and it says
Okay. What about
Nashville?
Oh, that was the Bonnaroo secret
Oh,
show
it was the Third Man Records
before.
thing.
Yeah, Third Man.
Gotcha.
So,
Cool.
which oh my god, I should have gone. If I would have gone to Bonnaroo, I probably would have gone to that Third Man thing.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because they were like, come to the merch booth the night before and we'll give you something special or something. And the something special was fucking tickets to that secret show.
Oh, damn.
Because it was only like 50 people
Yeah.
got the tickets.
Right.
But, oh well.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Meh, meh.
Yeah. So then we get Given to Fly.
Oof. Hell yeah.
Such a great song, dude. So great live.
Oh, interesting. They did Swallowed Whole next.
I could feel the dawn, I could feel the earth, I could feel the living all around, round, round,
Yeah.
Did they play that one that much?
I don't
No,
think so.
dude, 15 times. Woo.
Right.
I mean, I
you
know
go.
that's from Lightning Bolt, and there's not going to be tons, but
Right.
that's
It's a
still
newer
not
song,
very
but-
much.
Yeah. That's I like that song a lot.
I do too.
It was really good live.
It came on my
so-
shuffle yesterday. I was like, man, this is one of those songs on Lightning Bolt that I think kind of gets overlooked. But
Yeah, totally.
oh god, you got Lucan.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Looking into rearview mirror.
Woo.
Pretty fucking amazing first main set list, you know?
Yeah.
And even though it is schizophrenic, it was very on the heavier side of their songs. You know, their more aggressive songs, more
Sure.
rock songs, which was awesome for me. But then we get the encore. So you got to realize where I'm at in my life in that moment. Like, we were up till midnight the night before, got up at 3 and spent the day like out there in line, and just went through this crazy main set of pretty heavier songs, you know?
Sure.
And so now I'm really, really tired. And Eddie comes out
right.
and sings "You've Got to Hide Your Love Away," the Beatles cover,
Right.
which he flubbed it pretty good.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's pretty funny to listen to. Then he plays "Just Breathe," then "Thumbing My Way,"
I love those two.
and then the ultimate like chill song, fucking "Comfortably Numb."
Hello, is anybody in there? Just nod if you can hear me. Is there anyone at home?
I bet you were so happy.
I was, dude, I was like, I'm at a fucking Pearl Jam show, and I'm not saying this like facetiously to be a dick, but I'm at a show and I'm like trying not to fall asleep, and I'm like, please play something heavy to get my energy back up. I was dying. Now, I must say, dude, "Comfortably Numb" by Pearl Jam is starting to grow on me.
All right, that's a movement.
So
that's cool.
Part of it is they do the lights, like, you know, Pearl Jam's not really known for like a light show and explosions and
Right.
you know, dancing girls and all that shit. But "Comfortably Numb," they fucking bring the lights. It's pretty cool. So
I can imagine.
I'm getting there.
Yeah. Well, and
but
then
then-
your Pearl Jam genie granted your wish.
Yes, dude. The next 3 songs was like, whoo, like
Damn.
off the fucking charts. Do the Evolution. Which is such a just fucking fun rocker, you know. And I always think of when they played Madison Square Garden. They played this song, and the stage started shaking,
Oh, right.
and they didn't know what was going on at first. I always think like I want to do that to them again.
That's funny.
So do the Evolution, then they kick in a Sonic Reducer, which is like, I mean, you don't get much like heavier than that with Pearl Jam, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So, and then we get Porch.
Boom. Classic.
Oh man, Porch is, I love Porch so much. I'm sure I've said that before, but it's just such an awesome song live because they do, you know, they jam out, you know. And during Porch, when they're jamming out, Eddie came down off the stage and poured wine for me and my son and my nephew.
Oh, damn.
So that was pretty awesome.
Hell yeah.
I guess I forgot to explain what happened about my nephew getting a ticket. I'll just go through it real quick. When we got there at like 4:30 in the morning, every time somebody new would come up and sit in line, I would like tell them like, "Hey man, if anyone's got an extra ticket, like we need an extra ticket. We've got 2, but we got 3 people here." And we start talking with everybody and telling them the same thing. So about 10:30 or 11, we were sitting there, and actually my nephew, he had, I don't know if he went to get something to eat or get something to drink, but he wasn't there. But this woman named Dana came up to us. She's like, "Are you guys looking for an extra ticket?" And I was like, "Yeah." She said, "I've got a spare that my ticket buddy was supposed to be here today, but she flaked out last night at the last minute and said she wasn't coming. So I've got an extra ticket." And I was like, where is it? She's like, "It's GA." And I was like, oh my
damn.
God, like, are you serious? She said, "Yeah." And I'm like, "You want face value for it, right?" And she was like, "Yeah, of course." Because it's a real big thing, like with Pearl Jam fans, like selling tickets for over face. Like it's really frowned upon, you know? But she was like, "Yeah, of course." And I was like, "I have to give you a hug." So she was super sweet, and we hung out with her the rest of the day. And then my nephew finally showed back up, and I'm like, "You are not gonna believe it. We got you a ticket." And he like ran up and hugged this lady.
Oh, that's so cool, man.
It was awesome. It was really cool that we got to all sit together up front, And so back to Eddie came down during Porch and poured wine for us and gave us these little like plastic Dixie cups.
Some first class service.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, it was awesome. So that's the end of the first encore, and then they come back out, and what is it, Jeff and Stone?
Little switcheroo?
Yeah, and we get Smile. Which is, I've said it before, that's one of my favorite songs. Yep. So I love seeing it live. Love seeing those dudes switch it up. Something different.
Sure.
And then we get Leaving Here, which we've talked about before. That's a Edward Holland cover, Motown song.
Yeah.
I think I've seen that before. I want to say in Fort Lauderdale, like 20 years ago. Fucking awesome. I love that song. It's a fun song, fast song. And then we get into like the meat of the heavy hitters.
Right.
They played Black, which is my nephew's like favorite song, and he was just he was getting pretty emotional.
How old is your nephew?
He is, 22?
Oh,
23
cool.
now? Yeah.
That's great to hear. That's awesome.
Yeah. And my son is, 20... Yeah, 27. So.
Cool.
Black, and then they go into Better Man. And they put that Save It for Later tag, which is... They've been doing that forever on Better Man. And then your favorite song. My favorite song. Yeah. fucking alive. I want to say, I can't remember what song it is, but I want to say it was Alive. Eddie starts throwing tambourines out to people, and then at one point he jumps off the stage, runs all the way to one side of the crowd, and then like halfway towards the back of the crowd, and he gives like a tambourine to some kids that are up there. He like runs up the stairs to the crowd and gives this kid a tambourine. And you know, the band is playing. And when he comes back, I like held my hand way the fuck out, and he high-fived me as he went back to the stage.
Ooh.
And that dude, Arjun from Holland, he sent me a video. He was sitting way up in the seats, but he took a video of that moment and sent it to me.
Dang,
of
dude.
Eddie high-fiving me. So that was awesome.
You were like destined to have a Pearl Jam podcast.
Yeah. You think so?
Well, dude, you've got like all these video, like I don't think I knew some of this stuff from this show, like the wine or him giving you a high five on the way back in, and then there's Wrigley where you gave him the baseball, and dude, that's
it's
awesome.
crazy that just technology that you can get pictures and videos of this kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. If you haven't posted some of that stuff, if you still have it, I know you posted some of the Wrigley stuff.
The Wrigley one, yeah. There's on my like personal Facebook page. There's a ton of pictures.
Right.
So.
Well, cool.
Then we get I don't know why. Like I just had a feeling that they were going to play "Rockin' in the Free World," but they didn't. They played Bob O'Reilly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I'm sure I've said in the past, Baba O'Reilly is like, I fucking love that song so much. And to see them playing it live just like gives me chills. Like I was freaking the fuck out. So that was pretty awesome.
And then, who was it that emailed? Yellow Bedwetter.
Yeah.
I like that. It's so dumb,
that was a good
but
one.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah, they go into Yellow Ledbetter, and it's, I don't know. I love it. I love when they play this song because they turn all the house lights on. It's the end of the show. Everyone's all like spent, and just wore out,
Sure.
And it's just cool that they got all the lights on, and Eddie's like waving at people, and Mike's doing his thing with this song. So
yeah, man,
it was a pretty incredible show.
I'm totally jealous. I mean, I'm especially like some of those more rare ones, like Army Reserve, Education, Half Full, Swallowed Whole is another rare one. Let's see here. There was one more that I was looking at, and I can't. Yeah, Alive, man. You got really lucky on that one.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, just again, man, those first 6 songs to start off the night. Woo, yeah. That's still like, even just reading that list on a page is like, damn.
Yeah.
I want to go to that show.
Like I said, like a lot more often than not, they start out with like Release. And here lately, the last few years, when they were younger, they would do Release and then like Animal.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now it's like Release and like 2 or 3
Low
slow
Light,
songs.
and then
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and
but
think about it too.
This was
Yeah, but those slow burn sets too, I mean, it makes sense over the years where, you know, in 93,
right.
You know, how many slow burn openers could they have? And their sets were usually shorter, and now they are this...
Well, it's the same concept where there's a slow burn in 93 with opening with release.
Right.
Because everyone's so jacked up anyway that you play that song, then you go into the main set. Well, it's the same concept now.
Except for now they have 35 song sets.
Right. So they have 2 or 3 slow burns that build up to the heavy stuff. But that's why I was so happy that they went fucking balls out from the beginning, you know?
Sure.
And I was listening to this doing like 80 on my way to Nashville last night. And
really?
Like, it was, I was just like, this is a fucking rockin' ass intro as I'm flying down the interstate.
I thought you were going to break into a Wesley Willis song. Rocket to Russia.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man.
So.
Thanks for walking us through.
Yeah, I hope I wasn't too boring.
You're so boring, dude. Oh my god. I literally fell asleep while you're talking a couple times.
Yeah.
JK, LOL. Well, yeah, man. Thanks everyone for listening. Again, if you want to email us, our email is singlepodcasttheory@gmail.com. We're on all the socials. We're on Reddit. We're on the porch. If you'd like to support the show, patreon.com. That is patreon.com/singlepodcasttheory. Thanks to all of you who have already done that. And I guess it's time to go. So until next time, I'm Brad Lyons.
And I'm Brad Blazek saying, I miss you already.
Peace.
Thanks for listening.
Okay.
I died and you just I died and you watched. I died and you walked by and said no. I'm dead.
That was fine. Fuck yeah. Woo!
On a sheet, I'm on a wayside. the matches, but nobody's there. On the west side, on the front side, inside, I don't know whether it was the box or the bag. Hey, can you see them? Way up on the porch, yeah. And I'll make it. See them. And I know, I don't wanna stay home. Don't wanna stay, Mike McCree, the mighty Matt Kevin, on the keyboards, Boom Guswell, on the basso, Jeff Allen, mumbling and harmonica and guitar, and I've got a drinking problem. Ed Vedder, on guitar, Stone Gossett. And here's to you, the Rupp Arena. Thanks so much. Again, on the big stage. We love you guys.